I was born in Kriba. How did I forget? That is usually my first tagline.
So, have you struggled with mental health, especially when now you brought up the story of that sad point in your life of losing your father?
We are so quick to insult, to judge,
Kenyans on
to
Twitter,
cancel.
KOT.
Yes. All those
Huko
kind of
nilitoka.
things. So, like you remember the part where I said that we don't bribe. So
Yes.
imagine you've done, this is a scenario from some of our candidates. You've done the groundwork.
Yes.
You for the past 5 years, you've been working at the community, like you've put proper strategies. Now, before the night of the election, like you have this, we know we've done the campaign, like we've done everything. Before the night of the election, your opponent comes with money or bags of maize in a helicopter.
Hi everybody, karibuni sana. This is Jalango TV in collaboration with my channel, Joyce Cheruto Keter, and I'm your girl, your host, Joyce Cheruto. This is an amazing show where we talk to pacesetters, change makers, and leaders in their own rights who have made strides in what they're doing because we want to understand their journey, mahali walianza, and where they are today. For those who've been listening in, for those who've been sharing and subscribing, asanteni sana. And for the new subscribers, karibuni, feel at home. And today we have Amisa Rashid in the building. Karibu sana,
Thank
Amisa.
you so much.
How are you?
I am good.
You're
And you?
good?
Yeah, you are natural at this.
No, I am not. I'm learning the ropes, but asanti sana. So, Amisa, let's deep dive into the conversation. We would want to get to know you. Hata sija kuintroduce kwanza. So, Amisa Rashid is the executive director of Nivishe Foundation. It is a women-led organization where they seek to create a safe space for women and vulnerable groups in the society on matters mental health awareness. And Amisa, you guys are doing a very good job.
Thank you.
In a world where mental health is affecting so many people, I feel like your organization is needed. It is needed.
It is, yeah.
Yes. So we would want to know, Amisa, how would you like to describe yourself to someone who's listening for the very first time?
Okay. So I try to describe myself in 3 words. I am Amisa. Amisa is a go-getter, like 100%. I'm very authentic and altruistic. That means whatever I do comes straight from my heart. I don't have like other side businesses. And I'm a realist person. And apart from that, that is who Amisa is. I wear a lot of hats. So the first hat, of course, is I'm a mental health practitioner and also an advocate. And I'm the founder and executive director of Nivishe Foundation. Apart from that, I also sit in several boards globally and nationally. So the recent one being the SHM Foundation that focuses on funding mental health initiatives globally. So we're trying to set up the Kenyan board and the African board. I sit at the board of Siasa Place, Young Women Leadership Institute, Raising Futures Kenya. And RISE, I'm the co-chair of RISE. RISE is a US-based organization that focuses on movement building and social justice centers. And yeah, a lot of, I sit in a lot of boards. And one that I really like at the moment is I'm part of the Nivishe, but I'm representing Nivishe, of course. It's part of the technical working committee of the mental health action plan for Nairobi County 2023 to 2027. So we are trying to design for the county an action plan on how we can talk about matters mental health. So it is not just us doing the work, but bringing all the relevant stakeholders to be able to actualize mental health. So it is not just a theory, but action on the ground.
Wow, you clearly hold so many hats and you're doing so many amazing projects. And I feel like you were born to win. Would
I
you
I
say that?
I will I will say amen. Amen to that.
Mm.
And I think it's the spirit. I usually, let me not lie to you. I've been told for quite a while that I have the Amisa effect. It's sort of an halo effect, whereby if I meet somebody immediately, halo effect, like if you see a beautiful person, you get attracted. Is it? So apparently there's an Amisa effect. So people who tend to interact with me eventually want to continue being in my
Being around
community,
you.
around me. So I've started appreciating that as a strength because initially I thought it was just a luck or charm, but that is who I am also essentially.
Wow, wonderful. So
Thank
where
you.
were you born?
I was born in Kiriba. How did I forget? That is usually my first tagline. Like, I have to tell people that I was brought up in Kibra and from the ethnically marginalized Nubian community. And being a Nubian, ethnically marginalized community means that you are not treated, because the government has not recognized you as citizens per se. So that means that even accessing public services, you're treated as second-class citizen. So actually being a Nubian has brought my journey into the work that I'm doing, especially around community, social justice, YSOs, because I've personally been brought up in Kibra, and being a Nubian is two setbacks already. So knowing that, I knew that my community, we don't even have a political representation. Like, we are nowhere there. We cannot sit back and start crying Serikali's idea. The government, it won't come to help us. So we have to come up as youth from my community to be able to champion for change, to be able to bring that change in our community. So that has, like, my community is my biggest foundation. Like, I know at the end of the day that to whom much is given, much is expected. I've been given a lot of opportunity, platforms, whatnot. I'm expected to support my community. So that is where my drive and passion come from. They are
They're
not even
still
recognized as part. And that is why we are still wondering, because we've been in existence for so long. We are not recognized as one of the tribes in Kenya.
in Kenya.
So we are still not yet there. So that means if you are not recognized as a tribe in Kenya, I have to prove that I need to get the identification card, which is my right as a Kenyan, my birthright. But since the government does not recognize me, the Kenyan Nubian youth still go through the whole process of not getting IDs, marginalization, or if you're getting IDs, you have to go through the tough process of vetting and whatnot to prove that you're a citizen.
So do you have an ID?
I have an ID, thank God.
But after a very long process,
Yeah, it's a long
of
process.
trying to say that I am Kenyan.
Yes,
and I was
yes.
born here in Nairobi.
Exactly.
Wow. So how was your childhood like growing up as a Nubian girl in Kibera?
Okay. I think I don't want to talk about, like, it's Kibra. I did not come from a very wealthy family. That's number one. But one thing that I like about my childhood is that I was brought up with two amazing human beings. That was my dad and my mom. I usually tell people that my dad was a feminist, but he did not term himself as that, but his action, how he raised us. Because I come from a family of 4 children. We are 2 girls, 2 boys. I'm the second born and the first girl. And I've grown up not knowing gender roles because we are all brought up the same. I've grown being empowered because my dad was the type of person who will encourage me being loud. For me and my sisters, we are very vocal, we are very loud, and it is actually helping us because we can advocate for ourselves. So not shying off, embracing leadership, finding like those different things that we did not, like I can say people who were not raised by the kind of mentality my parents had, did not have. So they were championing for education and everything. So that was a plus for us, despite the challenge of being brought up in poverty, in Kibra, trying to educate yourself, because I've actually educated myself and all those kind of things. But knowing that you already had like a strong support system of people who would enable your journey to be efficient somehow.
Okay. So do you have a fond childhood memory? I'm just thinking Amisa in Kibra as maybe like a 5-year-old or 10-year-old that you think has shaped the person that you are today. Probably some values that you got along the way that you think without those values, you would not be the executive director of Nivishe Foundation?
So one thing that I learned from my dad, I was a daddy girl. So one thing that I learned from my dad was very loud. My dad, we would walk and he would see something wrong and he would speak about it. Even in a matatu, like everywhere, like you cannot do an injustice. Yes, he cannot change the whole thing, but he will raise his voice on it. And that is one thing that I adapted because and it is driving my work, because the work we are dealing with at Nivishe is health injustice, health inequity. So in accessing affordable and accessible mental health services. So it has really shaped my journey, because I cannot for the life of me see something wrong happening and then I just keep quiet. Unless it is life threatening, but either way, I'll just have to, like, I cannot be at peace knowing that something happened. I had the opportunity to raise my voice to change it, but I did not use it to change.
So advocacy.
It's
the center of the values that you want to speak out for people who don't have a voice, people who don't have the strength or the platform to bring out their issues to the fore.
Exactly.
Wow, that is good. That is so
Thank you.
nice. Na mi nataka kujua nivishe. Unajua mpaka I was wondering, is it a Swahili word? I think nivalishe ama?
No, it's nivishe.
Nivishe.
So tunakuvisha, but for us it is we are covering your dignity. Kukuvisha is so we are covering your dignity through providing affordable, accessible, and cultural sensitive mental health interventions.
Okay.
So why are we covering your dignity and accessing? Because one thing, mental health is a taboo. It's stigma. We are talking about it, but not really talking about it. And knowing that you can come to us and get the services that you need, which are cultural sensitive. Also remember, for mental health, most of the time, we borrow approaches from the Western world, the conventional Western approach. So for Nivishe, it's all about also coming to the community level and finding what existing solutions around mental health that we can use. Yes, there is the researches and the theories, but what have our community been doing that we can adapt and make sure that we are supporting, learning from our community, not just imposing what we think is right. So it is that give and take from our community. So we want you to, when you're thinking about Nivishe, it's a safe space whereby you can go and have affordable, accessible, and sensitive mental health intervention, whereby if you're from this, let's say a good example, one of the programs that we have at Nivishe that I personally like is we offer mental health services to deaf individuals using sign languages. So our counselors are able to do that, like trained to offer. So you see, that is being cultural sensitive. I don't have to bring an interpreter to interpret, and it is a one-on-one session. So we are very cultural sensitive and making sure you are dignified when you're accessing mental health services.
So Nivishe is a judgment-free zone.
Exactly.
You don't judge
I love
anyone.
how you put it.
Wow. So what motivated you to start Nivishe?
So what motivated me to start Nivishe is so before Nivishe, I had co-founded another mental health organization, but for the urban Muslim women in Nairobi. So my journey on mental health started when I lost my dad. So I lost my dad around 2014 there. And then being a Muslim, a practicing Muslim, I was looking for avenues in which you can talk about loss, grief, but within being under the realm of Islamic guidance. But then I could not find tangible resources. And my first degree was in Arabic and Islamic studies. So what I did is I went back to do like a higher diploma in counseling psychology. After that, I was able to now integrate mental health and Islam, because I had that. I had both knowledge. So I co-founded a counseling space for Muslim women in a certain mosque. They gave us a whole floor to set up a counseling space. And I loved it because it was the only space for Muslim women to come, open up, share. So I started creating a safe space at that level. And then when it grew, I just realized, okay, mental health is not just for the Muslim community. Yes, there are some issues we don't talk about and it's needed for the community. But I'm from Kibra. My people are going through mental health issues. I'm a Nubian. We have a lot of intergenerational trauma and it is passed through. What
Being
can I do?
marginalized, yeah.
Yeah. So that is how Nivisha was born. So knowing that I can work in Kibra I can work in the community that I've grown in, and knowing that I can create that change within my own community in Kibra.
So, have you struggled with mental health, especially when now you brought up the story of that sad point in your life of losing your father? Kwanza wacha tu tuanze na pole for your loss. Then, and have you at a personal level struggled with mental health?
Yes, I usually say I have lived mental health experience. And a good thing is that I was already in the mental health space, so I could be able to get a lot of support. I I tend to struggle with anxiety a lot. I'm overachiever, so I'm also a perfectionist. So if I don't find ways to manage it, it leads to me if I don't manage well, it can propel to having an anxiety disorder. So there are two different things when I usually explain about mental health. Being anxious is an emotion. It's normal to be anxious. But when your anxiousness is debilitating to the extent that it's affecting your personal life, it can lead to an anxiety disorder, which is a mental health issue. The same with depression. I've experienced depression severally. And running an organization, it's not easy, especially when you're a young woman who don't have anybody to hold your hand. You don't have a role model. There have not been existing mental health organizations that you can borrow from, which are women led or led by women from marginalized communities. So you can learn from their leadership journey as well. So learning from that, knowing that I can be sad, but when my sadness exists, over time, it can lead to depression. So I'm usually very, very conscious. I also experience some mental health issues like being burnout, overworking myself to the extent that I cannot work anymore. So it is also coming back to myself and understanding how can I build a community while pouring to them, while I'm also pouring to myself. Because if I'm burnt out, I cannot serve my community. So I think I keep on figuring myself out and knowing the more I'm in this field, mental health, the more I discover also myself. Yeah.
I am so proud of you, Amisa, speaking out openly that you have been affected by mental health. Because wacha nikwambie, sisi wa Kenya, mtu tu anasikia ati, oh, I am depressed. What do you mean depressed? That you can't go to the bathroom, you can't shower, you can't change clothes. We acha mchezo. That's the approach that we have as Kenyans. But I think it's because we are not aware on mental health matters. And I'm just wondering, I saw on your website that 1 out of 4 people are being affected by mental health in Kenya. So it means we should stop kupuuza na stigmatize people that are going through mental health disorders.
I actually usually say that for Kenyans, our mental health issues is not just, how people can get mental health issues is in several ways. It can be inherited through genetics. It can be environmental, like now we are in a social economical stress at time. A lot of people can have mental health issues, and it can be how you are brought up. Maybe if you're brought up in a not good environment, you may end up having different mental health issues. But one thing I usually say for Kenyans, for us specifically, it is torn down to generational trauma, and we've never been able to heal it as a country. If you can look during the time of, let's say, fighting for independence, the Mau Mau period, and then the country, as Kenyans, we've gone through a lot of things, and the good thing is we are resilient, but up to which point, right? And you see, how do you know we as a community, we need intervention? How we respond on others on social media. We are so quick to insult, to judge,
Kenyans on
to
Twitter,
cancel.
KOT.
Yes. All those
Huko
kind of
nilitoka.
things. So, why should I have that shows I'm projecting my own issue. If somebody points out an opinion that I disagree with, I can, as well as if I'm not able to point it out in a positive way or give uh, good feedback, I can actually not talk about it. But we are usually waiting for an opportunity to attack, to cancel people, to hurt people, hurt people, hurt people. So if I'm hurt, I want to make sure this other person is hurt.
Yeah.
So I usually say that if I was given an opportunity, I'll just create a national intervention for compulsory for every Kenyan, so that we heal as a country together.
Wow, I like it. Hurt people, hurt people. Mbona unafurahi na mimi hapa niko na makasiriko?
So I have to hurt you also. And
Yeah.
most time is subconsciously, because you don't realize that I'm hurt. You don't realize that I'm carrying a lot of things and I don't have positive outlet. So that means that the next, and we've normalized hurting people and attacking people in the name of holding them accountable. So the next person I see online being hurt, being just doing their things, I can remove my heart by also hurting them.
So how has your experience been? Being the executive director of Nivisha, I feel like you're into advocacy and also activism. So how is it as a woman, a young woman, for that in this activism space?
I think one thing for me is that I keep on learning. I usually say I'm courageous, but I'm not yet the courage type that because when you're talking about matters advocacy, you need some type of courage.
Yeah.
You need like resilience, and most importantly, you need a support system. You need people who you can advocate there, but if you come back, they won't judge you. They will hold the safe space for you. Let's say you're advocating for young women to be in politics a lot. And a lot of young people experience a lot of challenges, but it is their birthright as Kenyans to vie for a political seat, but there are a lot of challenges. So my work, even in the mental wellness, while I'm working with these young leaders, is to ensure that do you have a space that after dealing with all these things, you'll have like people who will judge you. Even if they hear something outside, they'll actually defend you instead of coming to tell you, do you know I heard they said this and this about you? So like having that strong support system, you yourself, you need to be courageous and know that I need to advocate for myself and know to which boundaries, but also know that when I fall back, I have like a strong support system that will hold me at the end of the day.
So you yourself have a group of women or men, I don't know, or a society.
Yes,
or nitaitaje?
a community.
A community.
A community. I have a community of support. I'm not even lying. I have a community of support system. One thing I usually tell young people, everybody nowadays wants to be the founder and executive director. And we are being sold the thing that if you are employed, you'll be your own boss. You won't, like, it's easier, you'll be managing your own time, you'll have time. And I'm like, no, if you are really a founder and executive director doing the actual work, there is no luxury in it. You have to intentionally create time to actually do the actual resting. So I have a support system. I know if I'm having organizational issue, apart from my board of directors, I know that I have a community of women who have gone through that. If I need like different kind of support, I know I have a community for that.
And what do you do to fill your cup?
To fill my cup?
Because you're doing a lot of filling other people's cups. So what are you doing to get refreshed and just re-energized apart from your support system? Unaenda swimming ama unafanya nini? You listen to music?
No, I actually have lazy times. I'm creating a lot of lazy times whereby even if it is just sitting and doom scrolling on social media, for as long as I'm just having a time whereby there are not a lot of responsibilities expected from me, I'm just existing for the sake of existing. So I love reading. So if I'm not reading a book, I can just go and take coffee and just journal, or just for as long as I'm not doing the actual work. So creating lazy spaces whereby I can do whatever my body wants. Even if my body wants to sleep today up to 10 and I know I don't have work, I do that. Because I know if I don't do that, I'll go into burnout.
I've learned that journaling is such a good space of just letting off some steam because you're writing down your thoughts. Is it?
And you see, that is what I was saying, that imagine if we all had embraced things like journaling or positive coping mechanism. So instead of uttering my nonsense on people's social media's posts, I can do that on a journal, nimalizane now, so that even when I'm going online, I'm bringing in my positive energy. I'm not bringing all the negativities to this person. So it is like you are putting your thoughts and feelings into a paper. If you don't like journaling, have therapy, because it is the same. It's just that here you'll have like a professional, an expert with who knows how the brain and mind works to guide you through
To
it.
guide you.
Yeah.
Okay. So people don't know. You know me, I was amazed to learn that you are the Secretary General of Amani Party. Is it
Ukweli.
Ukweli
Ukweli
Party?
Party,
Ukweli. Mpaka nimeita Amani. Ukweli Party. And who was the, it's associated with Boniface Mwangi, right?
It was, yes.
What role did he play?
So Boniface Mwangi was among the founders of Ukweli Party, but now he transitioned. So our party leader is our previous Secretary General, an amazing man called Nduko. And then we have our CEO Martin, and then I'm the Secretary General. Before then, I was the deputy party leader.
How is it being a Secretary General? Kwanza in a small party. You know, Secretary General in a big party, there is some, I don't know, some sort of prestige that comes with it. But in Kenya, small parties, I feel like they are swallowed and underestimated and not given the space that they should be given. So I'm just wondering, how is it being a Secretary General of Amani?
Of
Ukweli. Akina nimeinsist na hiyo jina Amani.
You should tell us ya Amani imetoka wapi.
Hata sijui.
So, I'm actually, we have around 80 something going to 90 political parties in Kenya. And we have less than 10 secretary generals of political parties, and more so young secretary generals of political party. So we've been in existence since 2016, Ukweli Party. And I think one thing that I keep on learning that has really thickened my skin is being in politics, but I believe in male allyship, men who can support you. I'm not lying to you. The support that I get from our current party leader, Nduko, and our party CEO, Martin, it's amazing. These are people who believe in me. Like, even when I'm self-doubting myself, I'm supposed to represent the party in certain settings, and I feel like, I don't think this is the right space, or I'm too young. Or, of course, there is that thing whereby you go into spaces and they'll try to bring on your age or gender around it. But knowing that they are always there to offer the guidance, the support that you need. I think that has been my highlight. Like, knowing that people, and the thing why I like Ukweli Party as much as it is a small political, actually for small political parties, there's so much work compared to SGs in other, because you have to make your party sustain itself to the next general election. So you really need to find ways to work and all those kind of things. So one thing that the settings that I'm putting in that has already been in existence is that in our political party, there's not the aspect of godfather or what. Like, I was purely selected for these positions because of merit, 100%. So, and knowing that I have to bring other young people on board because of merit. So we are also trying to demystify that fact that in order for you to be in politics, in order for you need to know somebody who knows somebody who will connect you, You get in there and make the connections the right way by yourself.
So I'm wondering, for Ukweli Party to get to 2027, isn't it easier to join one of the coalitions that we have?
So now,
either of.
Now that is an issue, because for us, we are 100% human right. Our work is to support social justice work in the country, to hold leaders accountable. And the disadvantage about it is that we cannot be, what is it called? We cannot be popular because we don't go with the popular way. We are the only political party that deals with focuses on matters human rights and all those kind of things. So joining this party means that we'll have to l- underlook some of our party values. And we as a party are not ready because we are led by our values. All my party members, you have to have that value of wanting justice, right, for people. So for us, we've reached a place whereby we'll do the right thing. By the way, one of our political rules, party rules, is that none of my party members, nani, you can't bribe. You can't give bribe. You can't receive bribe. You either lose the election, but you can't give or receive bribes. So I know it is unheard of, and people have told us you will keep on losing elections because in Kenya, bribe is the only way of the way. You need to bribe people to vote for you. But even if we are the one political party doing the right thing, we are game for that. And I know it's hard because we are going against the waves, but let's see how it will go.
I'm wondering what is your plan of surviving as a party? Because you've said it's not about popularity, but politics, it's more or less about numbers.
So for us, we have the grassroots, like you remember, like we are a human right, and we speak to the people. So we speak with the people for the people, and we are the people. So for us, it's numbers. We have numbers at the grassroots. So it is just about how can we be able to convince people that yes, you'll be bribed, but choose the right leader at the end of the day. Because as Kenyans, we've normalized the culture of bribing our people to vote for us. And for us, for me personally, I usually say, I can't stop you from receiving the bribe. But if you are going to that if you are going to that voting booth, you are all alone there. Can you make the right decision? So it is about, and it is about changing the people, attitude, mindset, and behavioral, slowly, through civic education, through all those kind of things.
Okay, so you've said you were established in 2016. So you've gone through two general elections, 2017 and 2022. Do you have any elected member, let's say in 2017? Did you have any elected member?
No, until now we don't have any elected member.
You've not been successful to get an elected member or even an MCA.
Yes,
not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, so tuambie, mimi nataka utuambie how the story of 2022. Let's go back to 2022 during the campaign periods. You as a Secretary General, together with aspirants from Ukweli Party. How was it like? You've sighed. Must have been tough.
No, so you remember the part where I said that we don't bribe. So
Yes.
Imagine you've done, this is a scenario from some of our candidates. You've done the groundwork.
Yes.
You for the past 5 years, you've been working at the community, like you've put proper strategies. Now, before the night of the election, like you have this, we know we've done the campaign, like we've done everything. Before the night of the election, your opponents comes with money or bags of maize in a helicopter.
Okay. So you don't give handouts, you don't give any sort of bribe.
So our work is at the community. If the community wants a school, how can we work to establish that school for you? Working with what the community needs to support them. Because for us, it's long time. Like if I give you one, and that is what we do in our civic education sessions. So a lot of my team were so much discouraged because you've done a lot of groundwork, and then because you can't give money, somebody comes and buys them. Now, what is making them angry is you did not, maybe most of them are probably number 2 or number 1, number 2. So now the people who never vote for them are coming to ask them, see, you continue with the initiative that you are doing of building schools, or see, you continue with this initiative that you are doing for us, because this person came, gave you money, and then they went. And because money is very powerful, because if I give you money, I've already altered the power dynamics. That means you'll always be at my mercy. So I can't hold you accountable. If I've taken money for campaign, I need to bring that money back.
Yeah.
So you as citizens, you cannot come and tell me you are our MP, we need this and this and this. I will
While I
ask you
spent millions
exactly
to
during
get
the
the
campaign.
seats.
So we usually tell people like you're selling your power when you receive this. And it's long. I believe in change. And one thing as a party that we usually tell ourselves, maybe Ukweli Party, we may never see the fruits of our party right here. Even all the work that I do, each and everything that I do, I don't do it for myself. Maybe we are setting the grounds for future generation.
So you're redefining the political space.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it slopes. People have told us we are delusional. People have told us we are what? But for us, we are believing that we're setting up, the mogomo tree, like we are putting in the roots, which are very strong. So maybe when it starts blossoming and the flowers come out, we may be not even existing, we may be dead. But maybe it will help people. Like the people who fought for our independence, they did not enjoy the fruit of it, but years later, as we are the people enjoying it.
That is true.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just wondering, if you get 2027, if you get 2032, and you still don't have any elected person in office as Ukweli Party, mtafanya nini? Will you fold?
No, it depends, but I think what is holding us forth is being in a political space itself. It's very powerful. You have access to a lot of things. So even for me, one thing I usually make sure is we may not have a political representative. Yes, we may have a political representative. Your party gets the political fundings and maybe the influencing decision, but there are some opportunities there. Are you leveraging on that opportunities for our people? So for us is how can we make young people, women, people with disability, at least be in politics, governance, policy spaces. You may not vie, but we have the power as a political party to make sure that there are some spaces like a normal person who is not in a political party may not access, but we have these advantages. Can we make sure that young people are there? Okay.
So you are a young person. You are a woman. Do you have any plans? Because you've said you're creating space for young people, for women in the political space. Do you have any plans to join politics?
No, I'm in politics, but my strength lies in supporting people. Like I'm so good in rallying behind you, in strategizing, planning for your. So also knowing your, what is it called? Your strength in politics. And I usually tell people it is very important because sometimes you may be told the ground wants you and you should vie, but you as a person, when you do internal reflection, do you think that you want to do this? So I usually tell people you can actually get into politics, but politics does not mean vying all the time. It can mean supporting a political party. It can mean like you feel like this is the right party that I need to put all my attention in, and this is how it should go. So it is, I can maybe volunteer. I'm a communication expert and I like this political party. Let me give my time to that party. So that is how I usually encourage people, because politics is already a dirty game. It's already stigmatized for young people, for women. So how can we make these people, because we want their votes, we want them to have different mindset when it comes to politics.
So the biggest challenge that you're having as Ukweli Party is how the political space is, in terms of, you said politics is a dirty game.
That is what people say. Me, I love politics. Okay.
But it is. I agree with whoever is saying that. It is a dirty game, and there are so many challenges that face women, young
especially
people.
women, man.
Yeah. Would you like to speak on them, especially the candidates who were women in Ukweli Party?
So I know, like, I mean, when I'm in the political space, I tend to interact with a lot of women. And one thing for sure is, whether we like to accept it or not, women face a lot of challenges compared to men in politics. First of all, the society harshly judges women compared to men. We have two counterparts, a male candidate and a female candidate. The female candidate, by the time they even come and say what they want to say, they'll have to waste like a lot of time making sure that they are looking right. They practice their speech. Like this male counterpart can just wake up and jump on the stage and talk. And nobody will start telling them, oh, she wore a tight dress. Oh, the dress was not fitting. Oh, what is she trying to portray? Is she married? So
Yes.
you see
Does she
all
have
those.
any children?
And Kenyans, Kenya, we are not ready to have women in leadership. And at the back of my mind, when will we be ready? You cannot keep on saying that women are not ready for leadership or political space, or Kenya is still fertile to have a woman as a leader. That shows that you are actually saying that women are in all levels incompetent to lead, to be in whatever political situation. And the thing is also, when you see how patriarchy is, it is ingrained patriarchy, because you find that sometimes it is us women who will say, I don't like women, miss, I can't vote for a woman. Why can't you vote for a woman? Because it is ingrained in you that women are not supposed to lead, or we've been told the gender biases that we have, or wanawake ni kisirani. That's why we have two managers, a lady manager and a man manager. You'll find that the people will expect so much from the lady, even she can't be expected to be angry, to express her emotions. But for the man, it is easy. You'll just tell, unajuaga huyo boss anakwaga tu anakwaga like very straightforward. For the woman, they'll be told anakwaga na kisirani sana. That's why sipendagi kuwaka na wanawake. So even for us as women, we really need to question our gender biases. Like, what am I doing that is not really supporting these fellow women who are trying to go outside there? And for also women who have been given that opportunity, how can I be in that space and hold the fort so that other women can come? Si kuenda huko juu, and ukiharibu unajua inaharibu for some generations to come. So it is like, I don't like where we are, but we have to work with what we have in holding ourselves responsible and accountable to make sure that we are having more women represented in politics.
That is true. I would want to see a future where so many women are getting into politics, because then is when we are creating even more chances for other women to be able in future to be the president, I don't know,
Exactly.
prime minister, some spaces that have not been held by women yet. So what are the life lessons that you learned so far?
Oh, number one, you have to have the audacity of men. You know how men are audacious?
They have
as
guts.
Women.
They can
Like, let me tell you, once you learn that, it is the free ticket to achieving whichever you want. Like, I've trained myself to do that. Like, sometimes somebody will with so much audacity will ask you, of course, sometimes I'm very sensitive, but they will ask you something and you're like, by the time this person came and asked me, walitoa wapi audacity? Get that audacity.
Get
that audacity.
That is true, because nakumbuka when I was working in a certain organization, there's a man who didn't have as much the level of education that I had. I think he had a degree, and at that point I had a master's. Lakini wapi alienda kwa manager, oh, I want a raise, juni nini, and he got a raise. He did. He was that audacious to just go and ask for a raise. While mimi hapo niko like, oh my goodness, maybe nitafutwa just because of asking for a raise. But I feel like that is important. It's important we as women to be audacious in the spaces.
And young people also, because I think sometimes as we are silenced as young people, because I've been in spaces whereby I've been told certain things as a young person, and you're like, where did they get this audacity to tell me that? So now I'm learning that audacity. Like, before you think of asking me something, you really have to really think. So my first lesson is get that audacity. I don't know where you're going to get it from, whichever, get that audacity. Because that is the audacity that allows me, even at Nivishe, you can have candid conversation with your funders and tell them, by the way, let's have a talk, let's negotiate, not just taking everything. The same audacity that has put me into spaces that I will not have done. Even my papers will not have taken me if I was not audacious enough to ask and inquire. And and then the first one is get audacity. I usually call it audacity and shamelessness, because unfortunately, as young African women, we've been brought up with shame. Like, shame, at the end of the day, some decision we usually make is because of shame or guilt. So you find that if I want to wear this cloth, I'll have to ask. It won't be because I look good, but it will be because of the shame I will get because of other people's opinions about me.
About you.
So how can you be so shameless to the extent that if people know me, they'll tell you that girl is shameless. She will get what she wants at the end of the day. And shamelessness means that sometimes it's hard because being a woman in leadership, you'll be told a lot of things. Most times, we are told that we got into certain position because we slept with a certain person or we did these things. Shamelessness,
You must have been someone's girlfriend.
exactly, all those kind of things. Shamelessness won't allow you to dwell so much on those things. Shameless will be like, they've said that, okay, on to the next challenge, on to, because your mind is so focused on other things that you don't even have time to dispute all these claims that are made. So, and you know that, okay, you can say whatever you want about me, but I know myself at the end of the day. So that is what I usually say. Audacity and shamelessness goes hand in hand. And once I've seen the fruits of it. So I usually like advocate for it. And then shamelessness also allows you to ask for things. Shamelessly, nakuuliza tu kitu na macho kavu.
In broad daylight.
And the worst you can tell me is no.
Yeah.
And if you tell me no, it's not the end of the road. I'll find another solution. So that is like the most important lessons that I've learned. But also one thing that I'm currently learning, I'm a giver. And I can't stop myself from giving, right? So even if it is giving my community, my friends, but I'm also learning to give to the right people and allowing people to give back to me. I'm so big on reciprocating, whether it is in friendship, in what. If I find myself that I'm giving to the extent that I'm starting to build resentment, if you are not able to talk it out, I need to step back. Because you find yourself, you may end up giving, and it kills you at the end of the day. So how can unfortunately, I only give you if you can give me. And for some people, it's not like give me immediately, but I know at the end of the day that if something happens to me, I know I can come to you and you'll give me something. You remember that question that you asked me, quick
Which
question,
one?
the
Yes.
favor, because it happens.
Or be afraid or be ashamed. No?
The one that the quick questions, fire question, and you ask me, will you rather somebody owe you money or favor?
Or a favor.
So favor comes back to that because knowing that I can give you a favor and expect a favor back that will work for me. I may never actually expect a favor back from you, but knowing that you are reliable enough for me to jump hurdles for you, because I know if I'm in the same situation, you'll do the same. That works for me. And that is what I usually tell young women, especially trying to climb up the leadership journey. Like, please go for relationship, works, environment, community that reciprocates your work. If you keep on being in spaces that are not reciprocating, you give up giving, you'll be left empty and nobody will actually want to associate with you when you're not able to give. So can you start by setting the boundary, knowing your values, and people know, by the way, before I interact with Amisa, I just know she will give me, but even sometimes I don't expect you to give me. I'm expecting you to maybe support somebody at a community level, not even financially, just advocate for them. So that I've created that community whereby we give, but we know that we also have to receive as well. Don't be afraid of receiving.
That is good. So your life lessons is being audacious, asking for what you want without being afraid, and having relationships that are hiyo word inani changanya, hebu wewe iseme mimi reciprocative. Yes. Now, tumeambiwa na president mambo ni matatu, si ndio? Mambo yako matatu ni gani in terms of leaving a legacy in this world?
Leaving a legacy. One, understand that the legacy that you may want to leave you may never actually see it. So once you are comfortable in that, that's a plus. You may plant a seedling, but
It may take years to grow.
And you may never actually see it. And that is my vision with Nivishe.
Mm.
I want to set up a legacy of community-based mental health intervention system that even if I'm not here 20 years, 100 years, I know Nivishe is still serving the community.
Mm.
That is all the work I do, whether it is in politics. I may not actually, like I said, I may not benefit from the fruits of being in a political party or advocating for young people, women, and people with disability to be in politics and governance. But maybe I'm planting seeds of inspiration, seeds of people to advocate for themselves. So that is one.
For generations to come.
Yeah, you just having the mindset or acceptance that I may work hard for something, but I'll never eat the fruit of it, the fruit of it. The second thing is also more of knowing yourself. I usually say knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Like once you have self-awareness, like knowing what makes me quick, what triggers me. So you're able to manage, you are able to learn a lot of emotional intelligence, social intelligence, like different ways in which you can actually make the world work for you. So always, and knowing yourself is a journey. There is no stop. So know yourself in whichever aspect. And most importantly, the third one is build a community. And community, we as Kenyans, we've been brought up, the only community we have is because of financial. I know I'm going, let's say, to have a wedding, I need a WhatsApp group. Somebody has died, we need a WhatsApp group for the funeral. Somebody has, what is it called? Is sick. I'm not saying it's bad, but build communities who are more than that. Build communities who you are not only reaching out to them because of that, but people you can also pour into them and they can intentionally pour into you. People who will love to see you grow. And even if you're surpassing them, they won't feel jealous. And that growing communities means that you can easily cut ties. If you feel like, or detach, if you feel like I'm really trying to work with this kind of people and group and they're not benefiting me and it's affecting my mental health, please, you don't have to stay in that space. Learning how to detach yourself without the shame. So also healing, in short. So those are my three mambo zangu
Mambo
tatu.
yako matatu. So mambo yako matatu is being self-aware, having a support system, and also just pushing through whatever your passion area is in spite and despite the challenges that you face, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that is such a beautiful way to live.
Thank you.
Sasa mimi nataka uangalie hiyo kamera. You tell us parting short to someone who is a change maker or just a leader in the society and they don't know where to start. What would you like to tell them?
Just start. So for me, it's usually, you don't have to wait until you tell. And that is the problem we have as young people, is we want to wait until we are complete to start something. I can't do such a thing because I don't have the funders, or I don't have the community, or I don't have whatever. So just start with whatever you have, with whichever resources you have, for as long as you take a step. So just start. And secondly, know when to fall back. You can be on a journey of starting entrepreneurship. I'm not lying. I did not share it before. I'm an entrepreneur, by the way. I've started businesses and they failed. And for me, it's okay. So if you've reached a point, yes, we encourage consistency and being patient, but you know yourself better. If you've reached a point whereby you feel like this journey, I've gone with it for years and years and it is not giving me the fruits that I want, maybe it's time to take back, reflect, and leave it and try something else. So it is okay if things are not working for you to start. So take a step. And when you're already in the process and you feel like it is not working, take a step back and reflect and see if you can be able to take another career journey. I mean, life is too short. If you stuck in the same thing for years and it is not fulfilling, it doesn't make any sense. So make your life meaningful. Yeah.
Wow, that you have put it so beautifully. Umetuambia YOLO, You only live once. Start whatever you're passionate about because this is the only life that you have. Now, Amisa, you have such a beautiful name. Nakumbuka when I was calling you,
Yeah, you told
nikikwambia,
me
guy,
that. I
you're
felt
the
so
only
good, by the way.
yeah, because you are the only person that I know who is
Mhm.
called Amisa.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
it's such a
Oh,
beautiful
it's a Nubian
name.
name. I usually have to tell people it is Amisa with an A. So don't call me Hamisa Mobeto. Please don't. Like every single time I tell people an Amisa, they'll ask me, is it? And I'm like, no, it is Amisa with an A. It is a Nubian name. Yeah.
So and you have such a beautiful soul. I would like to just appreciate you
Thank
for
you.
coming on to this show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Asante. So that is it from us. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Na muendelee kutuona, continue listening to us, continue sharing our content. It really goes a long way in supporting what we are doing. Peace.